This right here, I think, is the perfect representation of what just happened internationally and geopolitically.
Forget it. Forget it.
Not very often he apologizes.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Forget it. Okay. Oh, what?
What a cheap shot! As of course it doesn't end there. In comes America.
Why are you doing that?
Doing nothing. Why?
MAGA! MAGA now! MAGA, please! We're gonna make you great again. Oh, you noticed? You're also getting hit there, buddy. Let's go. Oh!
Come on, buddy. Get him. Get him.
Oh, you have an oral with us, and then it's like, oh yeah. Anyway, I digress here. As the divide amongst the right is getting stronger than ever, as it definitely does look like Trump's coalition is in tatters. I don't think it could be rebuilt here, no matter how much Dan Bongino tells you to trust the plan and to trust level 10 decisions, level gajillion decisions of 4D chess. That is really just an excuse for some of the egregious actions here that are extremely egregious here. And of course, Ben Shapiro is talking about the people are celebrating. We have no indications of that at all, as of course now we're getting other escalations that soon could be happening in Turkey, as the Murdoch media family is now propelling and pushing this idea that Turkey needs to be next. Turkey's not happy about us arming the Kurds also in that specific region here, as the situation is escalating. Soon could escalate out of hand completely. Russia, China allegedly involved here. But Ben Shapiro is saying great, as TPUSA is sadly missing its main figurehead that used to be the most outspoken critic and the person behind the scenes that was talking to Donald Trump behind the scenes not to do this. We have some old clips here, as of course now the only person doing that is Tucker Carlson, and Donald Trump just publicly attacked him because Laura Loomer called him and said that Tucker was allegedly saying bad things about the president of the United States. So yeah, the current state of MAGA definitely fractured. We're going to talk about that, play some of the clips here, play some of the details of exactly what's going on here. If you appreciate these type of discussions, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us here on this independent media broadcast. As of course the MAGA narrative is now a MAGA narrative. President Trump declared, we're making Iran great again. I think there's another eye that we're making great, to be personally honest with you, as there's accusations now against Ben Shapiro buying a whole pro-Iran war segment as an advertisement on YouTube. People are saying this is a clear sign of desperation here. The messaging has been off. It's been contradictory to itself. There hasn't been a consistent message. There hasn't been an information campaign waged to justify this war. It just kind of happened, and the administration's like, it's because of this. No, it's this. No, it's that. Oh, no, it's going to be a couple days. Oh, it's 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, 8 weeks. Now we're getting reporting from Politico that U.S. intelligence officers that are being sent down to Tampa are going to be there for at least 100 days. Lots of reporting coming out from behind the scenes talking about how this could be an endeavor till September. A couple of weeks ago, we told you that in September, that's pretty much going to be a major milestone that's going to be turning here when it comes to this big conflict here, as it's pretty clear here. A lot of people are disenfranchised. A lot of people are sad. A lot of people are let down. A lot of people feel bamboozled since Donald Trump ran on being the peace president. No more war, no more foreign entanglements. He literally ran and saying, how much money did we spend? Trillions of dollars on the Middle East. We're going to spend it here in America because we're going to take care of the American people. We're going to make America great again. And now he's like, no, actually, we're going to make Iran great again. And here comes Dan Bongino here, who lost all credibility and respect for himself when he told us Epstein absolutely took himself out and lied to the American people about it, as he was gaslighting the American people, saying there's big things coming. I am shocked at the things I'm seeing. They're going to be exposed soon. Just because you're not seeing it doesn't mean big things aren't happening. And then he quit. And he's like, I'm out. Nothing happened. But you're the problem for noticing.
For this deliberate op. I hear all these commentators now talking about ops. The ops are mostly coming from the other side.
We're talking about like decentralized, like independent media that just says, hey, can we be consistent with no war, please? Can we just please can we just focus on America? Can we just not risk American lives? And it's like, oh, but they're the up. No, they're not. They're concerned citizens that were promised something that isn't being delivered on, and they have a reason to be concerned here.
Black pillars, liberal media people, and Democrat strategists trying to fracture the Republican Party over everything.
I mean, the Republican Party kind of fractured itself. Donald Trump fractured the Republican political party, as of course now New York Times is reporting what I reported earlier on about the Guardian report. I got a lot of flack and criticisms from, I think, paid bots or just a campaign of individuals who are saying, how dare you say that the Iranians didn't blow up 150 of their own children? And I'm like, okay, there's a number of factors here that could explain this. Maybe there was a missile shot down. Maybe there was a missile misfire. Maybe there was an accident. Maybe there was bad intel. As it looks like there was some kind of miscommunication by Anthropic's AI. That was a big part of this. And AI makes mistakes. But now there is evidence that is becoming overwhelming, showing, as Glenn Greenwald says, that it was a U.S. airstrike guided and governed Anthropic AI alleged attack that blew up an Iranian school filled with schoolgirls, as Glenn Greenwald says, liberating 150 of them from life. But Ben Shapiro's telling you, the Iranian people are celebrating this war. And again, there aren't like maybe a few people who are, but vast majority of them are afraid, and their future is very unpredictable, as of course there's going to be a massive civil war, there's going to be a huge vacuum of power, and the Iranians are going to fight for water resources, as of course previously the United States and Israel bombed their water desalination plant, which of course was a key crucial piece of infrastructure that allows the Iranian people to have water. And the water shortages, war, and the vacuums of power are highlighting a huge, major problem for the Iranian people that I think a lot of them understand, and a lot of them are in a very horrible, awful situation. We're going to play some of the Ben Shapiro clips here because it's just wild to see this kind of Orwellian peace, war is peace type of talking points here. Before we do one ad read during the video, and that, of course, is for wearechange.shop. Our number one selling supplement is our creatine. Why? Because we make sure we get it from the number one best source from Germany. We did our research. It's selling out fast. Make sure you get it while supplies last year. As, of course, it's really great for women, really great, game-changing for women. Carnivore Aurelius posted saying, I almost sold creatine, but I decided not to. Here's what companies aren't telling you. 1, most creatine are from sketchy overseas markets. Yes, ours is from Germany. It's not from the sketchy places. Lots of people get them from sketchy places. Lots of people get the gummies. Lots of the gummies do not actually have creatine in them. And they're getting it cheap, right? Because like as someone who sells products, I'm like, okay, do I want the cheap stuff from China that has toxic byproducts? And again, Carnivore Aurelius is like, yeah, there's toxic byproducts in there. Yeah, that's when you get them from cheap places that are not sourced correctly from good, legitimate places. That's why a lot of people who sell creatine don't want to tell you where they get it from, because they get the cheap stuff so they make more money. This is why our creatine 2-month supply is $53. It's a little bit higher. Why? Because we get it from Germany. We get it from the best number one source, the purest, best source out there. And the people in the comment section are even mentioning that. It's true. Lots of creatine is contaminated, except for the good ones. As Ben Dover here saying, stick with products that use the oldest and most purest and the most tested from Germany. Pure doesn't have these issues. Yeah, they don't. There's clean and then there's non-clean. Ours, we made sure to get from the cleanest sources out there. WeAreChange.shop. Go get it. Go support this independent media network. Because, of course, this creatine stuff is absolutely amazing. I take it. I love it. And I wouldn't be taking it. Because, I do my due diligence. I do my research. I make sure we get some good stuff back here. I saw this random post on Twitter. It's really good for women. You got a girl or a woman or a mom or a daughter in your life or a girlfriend, wife, whatever. Creatine really is good for women. Women naturally store less creatine than men. They naturally have less creatine. That means they have less energy. Their brains are sharpened with creatine. It helps to grow muscles. And this person is selling their own version. I don't know where they got it from. But do your own homework, do your own due diligence. Ours from Germany. WeAreChange.shop, some of the best stuff on the market. And you get a big tub of it here that we have available to you on WeAreChange.shop. I had a crazy exercise yesterday. Took some afterwards. Feel amazing. And I feel great. And my brain feels amazing too. Really great cognitive benefits with creatine. Anyway, let's get back to the discussion here with Benny Boy. Be like, this is great. This is awesome.
Abroad, ranging from Europe to South America to obviously the Middle East, where it has activated its proxies against American allies, not just Israel, but also including Saudi Arabia, UAE, and other countries in the region. The Iranian government is the leading sponsor of...
Yeah, Iran bad. We're good. That was what Bibi Netanyahu told us. Those, of course, all the talking points Or on the same here, Ben Shapiro today. Yes, there will be boots on the ground. They just won't be ours. Well, Special Forces Green Berets probably will be embedded with them. As there's reports of them already being embedded. Alex Jones says from his sources, they already are embedded. And of course, it makes sense that they will be, because when you give them all these advanced, like, anti-tank, anti-surface to air missile systems, you got to train them. You got to show them how to use it. And a lot of the time, Special Forces Green Berets are on the front lines with a lot of these Kurdish and also Al-Qaeda forces that are going to be fighting with this new kind of land invasion. And again, the talking points here are just like obscene. They're just totally nonsensical. They make no sense at all. As of course, Ben Shapiro's taken his time to attacking Dave Smith, attacking Tucker Carlson. All right. And then he uses these like cringy talks like, I explained the find out part of Iran effing around. I was like, okay, bro, like, really? It's like, listen up. There's whiny bees out there. I'm like, okay, Ben, calm down there. All right, go back to Home Depot. Try to look up the Home Depot meme with Ben Shapiro. As now, I've warned about this conflict spiraling out of control. A lot of other countries are involved here. A lot of other countries are being bombed here. It's just a matter of time until other countries get involved, and they are getting involved here. As now, there's conversations, as Mike Cernovich has been coming out saying that there's been a big push here from the neocons, from Rupert Murdoch, and Mike Cernovich has been talking about this, to now push for war with Turkey. As people are saying, this is just so tiresome. Sean Davis, we're not even a week into the war with Iran, and the neocons are already agitating for a new conflict with Turkey. Again, arming the Kurds agitates, which Ben Shapiro loves, agitates the Turks. The Turks have been outspoken against what has been happening in Gaza and have been outspoken against the Israeli state. That's why the Israelis see them as a threat. And the Israelis want to get rid of Turkey. And obviously there's also fights for Syrian territory, and Syria is the buffer state, a failed buffer state that leads to more problems in the region between Turkey, a NATO ally, and Israel, our main type of ally in the region that we're doing anything and everything for. Cernovich says, next war already planned, and it's Turkey, which is a NATO country. My goodness, this issue is out of control. And P.S., don't gaslight me. We all saw the comments about Turkey being next. Stop lying. Absolutely. This is what John Kiriakou had to say about the Kurdish invasion. And again, the Turks are not going to want their chief rival in the region being armed, being trained, because they understand, hey, this puts us in significant danger and questions our border integrity and our national security in the region.
Do you think the Kurdish play is a distinct possibility?
Oh, I would say the chances are 100%. The Kurds have long worked with the United States. They are brave fighters, pro-American. We've worked with them very closely in the past against Saddam Hussein. We worked with them in Syria against Bashar al-Assad. This is a logical next step.
Okay, there they are doing cartwheels over fire. That's an interesting training technique. I've never seen anybody do that before. But in all seriousness,
they're a kind of communistic radical group here. It's like, yeah, let's give all the latest weapons. As of course now it looks like there is a possibility of boots on the ground. The Washington Post today is reporting that the Army abruptly canceled a major training exercise. Officials said, fueling speculation with the Defense Department, that soldiers specializing in ground combat and a range of other missions may be sent to the Middle East here, as it looks like China is stepping into this conflict, according to some of the reporting happening on Fox Business.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that China is now accelerating production of submarines to attack the United States. Closer to home, writing, quote, China has been developing new submarine technology and a bigger, better fleet that is gaining on the United States and its allies, spurring a new undersea arms race in the Pacific. These subs that can strike U.S. from closer to home, the U.S. Navy is warning. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow Gordon Chang. Gordon, that is some statement that the Navy has warned us about.
Yes. The Chinese, they don't actually need better submarines. All they need to do is stay close to their shores in what they call the bastion areas, like the Yellow Sea. But obviously, they do want subs to be able to get closer to the U.S. And by the way, we have Chinese submarines in the Arctic, which would be very, very close to Alaska and the homeland. So,
yeah, there's also reporting happening that Russia is sharing intelligence with Iran on the location of U.S. forces in the Middle East. Not a surprise there. The United States does the same thing against Russian military installations deep inside of Russia so the Ukrainians could hit it. CNN is reporting that U.S. intelligence is suggesting that China may be preparing to provide Iran with financial assistance, spare parts, and missile components. 3 people familiar with the matter said Beijing has stayed out of the war up until now. And obviously, this sets this kind of scenario where we're spending a lot of our missile defense systems, and then China's looking over at Taiwan being like, okay, maybe this is the time. As right now, there's also considerations and talks happening internally about our allies in the Middle East withdrawing contracts from the United States. They want to draw down this war. They want this war to stop. And all indicators are showing that it will not be stopping anytime soon. But Ben Shapiro's really happy. Ben Shapiro's like, look, Iran's bad. And then soon it's going to be Turkey's bad. And then it's going to be like Pakistan's bad too. We got to do everything we can here as TPUSA has been previously one of the biggest kind of anti-war voices against this conflict. Kim.com comes out and says TPUSA is now pro-war with Iran. They definitely highlighted some pro-war voices. Quote, against Charlie Kirk's wishes. This is, quote, a hostile takeover according to Kim.com here. As of course, this clip is from September of last year, highlighting Ben Shapiro coming on the TPUSA show. And some people are saying this had potentially an impact here to influence them. As of course, if we remember, TPUSA with Charlie Kirk was always outspoken against these wars, against these conflict, as people are now highlighting these type of clips here from Charlie Kirk during the 12-day war that were very important. As of course, it wasn't just Charlie Kirk publicly speaking out against these wars that made no sense and the American people didn't want. But he was also back-channeling and going and calling Trump and meeting with him and saying, please don't do this. This makes no sense at all.
President Trump understands his base extraordinarily well. He knows that his base does not want another Iraq. He does not want Libya, does not want a civil war or bedlam where the United States is left carrying the bag. But
it looks like there's going to be a civil war, especially when the Kurds come in, the different kind of ethnic majorities and minorities fighting inside of Iran for territory.
Also, President Trump has been morally clear for a decade. Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. And President Trump has the talent, the expertise to be able to thread that needle. The generation that I represent, Jesse, the under 30 crowd, they absolutely are very war weary. Many of them voted for President Trump on college campuses because they did not want to see a Joe Biden or George Bush philosophy where we get into this endless conflict where we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars. I think President Trump will be able to...
Rest in peace, Charlie. I mean, I feel weird even playing his videos, but my goodness, this man was a powerhouse that very carefully watched his words here and was very smart and held together this kind of MAGA coalition that Ben Shapiro is defiling in all of the most kind of disturbing, pathetic ways.
Balance those two things while defending our allies, saying that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon without having to deploy a single American troop or even having America involved from the sky. President Trump can get that deal done while fulfilling the mandate that the voters gave.
You see the way he's speaking. He's like talking to Trump. He's talking to the base, and he's threading the needle himself, but being very careful with his words here. And he was very smart. He was very intelligent here. As again, there's different clips. As of course, Charlie was very much in favor of the Israeli state, but then there was a group calling him anti-Semitic for some reason. And again, I just don't understand it, right? But the important work that Charlie did behind the scenes, back channeling. Nick Fuentes gave credit to Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was one of the few people that kind of continued on this work. Obviously not with the same kind of like power as Charlie. As Charlie had the youth, he had the kind of energy of this kind of huge grassroots, well-organized, oiled machine that was extremely important for Donald Trump. Tucker Carlson is a podcaster. He's not TPUSA. TPUSA is extremely important when it comes to getting young people to vote, young people engaged in the political system, right? They have so many organizations on so many college campuses, and they have been able to galvanize so many people for Donald Trump. As, of course, as Charlie pointed out here, their main concern was taking care of America. We're not taking care of America. We're not fighting for safety and security by doing these initiatives. There's nothing secure. This is not safe. This is not about peace. We're getting the opposite of that. And these like insane bootlicking warmongers that are saying peace through strength. Oh yeah, China, Russia's involved here. Lebanon's involved here. We got to go after Turkey. I'm like, that's not strength. That's just a sociopathic, insane type of mindset from a deprived people who want to see pain and suffering.
Vance.
Here's Nick talking about the important work that Tucker's doing now that Charlie used to do before.
Vance was encouraging Trump to go to war. The only person that was discouraging it was Tucker Carlson, to his credit. And I have my beef with him, but to his credit, as far as we know, Tucker Carlson is the only one who went.
Yep. Now, the reporting came from the New York Times and other news sources, specifically saying that it was J.D. Vance that convinced Trump not to do a limited strike, but to go big. J.D. Vance is kind of like disappearing. Someone made a very interesting comment right now that I thought was pretty on point here, and I decided to retweet it. Let me go find it. Someone says, Vance has mastered the art of disappearing on days when the ish hits the fan. And I'm like, yeah, the guy still has to answer about this kind of New York Times report of him being allegedly the guy who told Trump to do all this. And again, this is what Nick is talking about.
Went to the White House on February 23rd and tried to discourage President Trump from taking us to war. And for that, whatever Tucker is, CIA, foreign operative, whatever, we owe him gratitude because he tried. And for whatever reason, who knows what he really is, we should be somewhat grateful. We have to give him the credit he deserves for that. He was the only one. But more to the point, Vance was encouraging Trump to go to war. The only person that was discouraging it was Tucker Carlson, to his credit. And I have my beef with him. But to his credit, as far as we know, Tucker Carlson is the only one who went to the White House on February 23rd and tried to discourage President Trump from taking us to war.
Now, Trump is speaking out against Tucker Carlson. And again, it sounds like he's the more kind of rational sound voice here, as of course now he's going to be listening to Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro. I mean, there's a reason why all those people's like influence and numbers and subscribers, and why so many people, especially when Trump brings up Lindsey Graham when he's speaking during his speeches, why people boo him, why people aren't impressed by him, because it's all artificial astroturf, botted type of insanity that very few people fall for. Very few people want war. We do not want this war. These insane sociopaths want war.
And for that, whatever Tucker is, CIA, foreign operative, whatever, we owe him gratitude because he tried.
Yeah, he did.
And for whatever reason, who knows what he really is,
who cares? You judge him by the fruit of the fruit of his labor, right? What did he do? I think he's doing the right things. I think that's why he's under attack. I think that's why there's sabotage attacks against his business right now, because he's willing to speak out as the Republican Party is now the party of Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Laura Loomer. And this is what Nick had to say.
The Republican Party is the party of Miriam Adelson. The Republican Party is the party of Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Laurel Loomer, and what I say is fuck every one of them. Every one of them. Go to Israel. That's all you care about, obviously. If they're with the MAGA movement, then I'm not. They want to hide behind Trump? You think I'm afraid of attacking Trump? Here's the benefit of being me. I know my followers support me more than they support Trump. And not everybody, almost nobody can say that. Laurel Loomer wants to hide behind Trump's pant leg and say she tattled on him about Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, she literally is bragging about, I told Tucker Carlson. I told Donald Trump about Tucker Carlson, all the things Tucker Carlson was saying about him.
Well, hey, newsflash. You don't have that problem with me because my followers are loyal to me. This is the America First movement. We were always lending our support to Trump. He never owned it. They support me because I'm America First. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of real supporters that actually know what's going on, that actually know the truth, and that are willing to do surprising things like vote for the Democrats, things that are not part of the plan. And I never got more pushback than when I said I'm stepping out on the Republican Party. Never got more pushback than when I did that.
Now, whatever you might say about him, we sure do miss Charlie Kirk. This is Charlie Kirk, by the way, June 2025, talking about how the policies that are now being instituted of regime change are pathologically insane. And Donald Trump today announced no surrender until full capitulation, until we have full unconditional surrender by the Iranians. And then we'll choose whoever we want to rule that country. Regime change is the war, right? That they're calling not a war. And that's the propaganda that is being sent out there, which is wild.
Let's do some updates about Israel and Iran and potentially the United States. On one side is the Lindsey Graham, John Bolton types, where they are actively calling for regime change. Here is Lindsey Graham. And this is just lunacy. This kind of analysis is not helpful. This kind of approach, this kind of argument, it has nothing to do with nuclear weapons at this point. This is now that we want to go all in and take out the regime. It's time for us to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen and start a new chapter in the Middle East. And that sounds good, doesn't it? But what have we learned when it comes to wars, and especially wars in the Middle East? What you draw up on a whiteboard rarely happens. What you think theoretically is going to occur, there might be unintended and unforeseen consequences, especially when you're talking about a country 2.5 times the size of Texas. It has 90 million people and was an ancient and great power.
I think Charlie really made an impact on the 12-day war and stopped it from getting completely out of hand. Ben Shapiro and the Lindsey Grahams are pissed. And I wish he was around now. That's my take on it. If you agree, share this video. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys liking, sharing, subscribing. We are change.shop. Check it out. Check out our creatine. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys buying that. Pray for peace. I'm going to make another video about the worst and best case scenario here out of all this. And I think it's important it's important to watch that. That's going to be a Saturday's video. Check it out on the main channel. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively, youtube.com/Luke Rudowski.